Now, Tracy, go ahead. You want to introduce yourself? I think you have a slide presentation you should have the ability to present, and you can take us home.
You know what? I will introduce myself, but I thought I was able to connect with you while this was happening to pivot. I'm loving the format of just more organic Q&A. I can
Okay, well, it's up to you. It's your time. Let's do it
I
that
don't
way.
need to throw a monkey wrench, but this is just beautiful, productive dialogue that I'd like to keep the flow going. Um, my name's Tracy Spiaggia. I am the owner of Slingshot Health Coaching. I am a functionally trained health and wellness coach, as well as a national board certified health and wellness coach and a brain health coach through Amen Clinic. I am so thrilled and honored to hear from each of the panelists. The one thing I would like to kick off with is I know that we have been and still are in a season of great trial. And I know that this panel has bleeding hearts for the youth, and praise God for that. We need that. I just want to encourage everyone that nothing is wasted, that when we go through crises like this, it draws out of society. It draws people out of their homes to be a force for good. And when I hear people bringing their beautiful skill sets out into the world in a way to manifest light in a season of dark, it just gives me so much hope, and it just continues to ignite a passion that's in me that I love for children as well. So what I primarily do, I've been fascinated with health and wellness all my life, personal trainer and a running coach. I wanted to add the nutrition piece and just fell head over heels in love with functional medicine and the intersection of mental health, most especially with our youth, and the power that food and lifestyle have. As a society, we have gone full warp speed in the opposite direction of the way that really we are designed to live. There is a design to the way that a human being is meant to live so it can thrive. No different than any other organic element in the world. It all has an ideal setting, right? But we are going so fast and furious in the opposite direction of how we are to live in order to be our best and show up in life as our best. And of course, it's the children that so many of us have just broken hearts for, because they are at the mercy of the way the home is functioning, right? They're just at the mercy of it. So anybody who is an adult who has suffered trauma, we can look at them and compartmentalize them as an adult and say, oh, you know, their behavior, it's abhorrent. There's always a way to go back to their beginning and see where the trauma began. It could even be like, I believe Carolyn was saying, even in utero. That stress response is being knit together. Again, knowing some of the same things that she does, that adversely expresses genes that we want to kind of keep quiet. It causes the fear center, the limbic system, to be a little bit disproportionately larger and overactive. So this baby who is being knit together can sense the chaos. That's how brilliant we are. They can sense discord. They can sense stress in the mother. And then we can take the next step, is that baby born via C-section and missing out on that beautiful inoculation that comes with a vaginal birth. More and more births are defaulting to C-section for various reasons, many of which are non-medically necessary. Then we have mothers who can or choose not to breastfeed. And there's nothing that man can create in a lab that mimics the brilliance of that colostrum and that breast milk coming from the mother. It's another tremendous unmatched source of bacteria that informs the microbiome. I mean, I kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent, but I guess my passion is to bring in understanding of nutrition and lifestyle from conception all the way to adult life, and how our food choices, we are comprised, our material body is constantly regenerating. And what is it regenerating from? It's regenerating from the food we eat. So as the brain is trying to develop itself on a diet that is woefully short in healthy fats, the brain, the solid portion of the brain is 60% fat. So if we have a diet that's low in those essential healthy fats, and we're eating a diet that's high in omega-6 fats, that highly processed, highly heat, which is oxidative. The body's going to go and pull what material it can, but it's kind of like building a house out of scrap wood that you pulled out of the dumpster and wonder why the house can't withstand a storm. The
Tracy,
food is so essential. You want
I
to
was
say?
going to say, so if a family comes to you and they have, and they're in a state of disarray or different things, what is how would you structure something for them, with what you do, kind of, so people have a flavor for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Every single person that walks into my door is a unique person, and they need that holy space to be held for them so I can hear about their whole story. The whole entire thing matters. I can't just come at every single person with a quote unquote diet that's perfect. That's the worst way, I believe, to approach. This is very nuanced. It's very individualistic, but there are some pillars that I will speak to everyone that I work with is, we've gotten so far away from a whole food diet. If I can encourage people, especially moms and dads, to pull back on the processed foods, to pull back on the sugars, to pull back on all of the grains, and to return to whole food. In other words, like my daughter said to me recently, there's nothing to eat in the house. I said, are you kidding? There's so much food. She goes, yeah, they only taste good when they come together. But by them, I said, yes, that's because they are ingredients. She's looking for that, like, grab off a shelf, chuck in your mouth, I'm done. So I thought that was funny. But so I would encourage parents, two things. I would first start by saying, do not make perfect the enemy of the good. Even 1 degree turns matter. Even if you say, instead of 5 Pepsis today, you can only have 4, and a glass of water will replace that 5th, that to me is a win. If we can just begin to slowly move away from what is poisoning the brain, and to speak specifically to the work that the other panelists are doing, the work that they are doing, the trauma resolution, the neurological disorders, they necessitate essential nutrients. Those processes can't happen to the fullest extent if the body is not receiving what are called essential nutrients, meaning the body cannot generate them on its own. It needs to come in through our food sources. So as you try to detoxify trauma out of the body, that necessitates nutrients. If you try to bring a brain back online and mitigate and manage some of the symptoms that go along with ADHD, that requires targeted nutrients. So there's no question that the one broad stroke recommendation that applies to all of us is move as much away from processed foods. They're called dead foods. If you're consuming what are dead foods, the body has no live material to use. It doesn't lend itself to a body that's growing, developing, and trying to heal from all kinds of trauma. Trauma alone is the processed food. That's a trauma to the body in and of itself. So if you're talking to families who are struggling, especially with single parent homes, especially the communities that these beautiful women are working with, adolescents with their children coming into the clinic, we want to start slow so that you don't scare them off and make this too big of an ideal, right? So it's, can we shoot for 1 apple today? If you're talking to somebody who's only going through a drive-through once or twice a day, and that's pretty much all they're eating, to add an apple to that, to me, that's a win. So I just encourage people within the constructs of their own unique resources and their own bandwidth, whether it's mental bandwidth, emotional bandwidth, financial bandwidth, whatever your bandwidth is, expand into that, aligning yourself with the way that we are designed to live. We are not designed to pony up to a drive-through. We are designed to sit down to a plate that has vibrant colors, lots of textures and flavors, so that when that food comes in, cells can do what they're wired to do. They are wired to give us vibrant health. They are wired to bring the brain online. They're wired to be strong to handle waves of trauma. But when we don't steward the body well by feeding it right, resting it right, moving it right, hydrating it right, just nurturing it right, it's no wonder we are experiencing the mental crisis that we are. And I find that this last year with COVID has only brought to the surface something that has been brewing since the advent of the internet. Our children are dying on the vine. And this whole cataclysmic experience has brought children back into their homes, whatever the home looks like, but hopefully has given an opportunity for us adults to say, my gosh, what are we doing to our kids? All of these standardized tests, all of these early morning wakes, these 9-hour school days, and then 5 hours of homework, and then 3 sports, and nobody's exploring their faith any longer. Families aren't eating together at the table. Everybody's off running in different directions. 50% or more homes are broken in single parent homes. We are just so much out of alignment with the way that we are designed, that this crisis, I think, has, even though we're still processing and metabolizing it, I think ultimately I'm going to fix my mind on the good that's going to come out of it, because I think a lot of people are waking up to, at the very least, what is being done to our children.
Understood. Understood. Any questions from anybody before Tracy wraps up? Anyone have any questions?
I have a question for Tracy. Tracy, it's Desiree. How are you?
Hi, good.
That was super fascinating from all of you. Thank you very much. Just wondering, how young do you deal with for children?
Oh, I come into the family. So I've worked with women who are preconception, and I work with just adults who are kind of stuck in that childhood, kind of can't get out of that childhood trauma. Really, it's the spectrum, because good eating, good lifestyle, all of that really applies from conception on. It really is preconception, because the genetics that mom will pass on, they can be influenced by her lifestyle before she has even conceived. So there isn't any point that I would say, yeah, that's not an appropriate client for me.
Okay.
You know?
And do you take insurance?
Unfortunately, no, but we just achieved, as national board certified, we just achieved 3rd category insurance coverage, but soon, I would say our hope is within the next 1 to 3 years that they will recognize this as a service that should be insurable.
Sure.
But as of right now, I'm a cash only.
Okay. Thank you.
Excellent. So as far as wrapping up, Tracy, what would be the 2-minute wrap up as to what you would want someone to take from today?
A 2-minute wrap up would be, please release any fear that you have. There is nothing more oppressive, more destructive to our existence than fear. Every person who walks into the Center for Great Expectations, anybody who walks into Kathy's office, there is trauma there. And what's underneath trauma is people behaving from fear. So if you want to bolster your immune system and have the best defense possible against this virus and there's other threats out there. It's not just COVID. Eat well, sleep well, hydrate well, but above all, let go of fear and just step out into life, believing that there is so much more good than bad, and taking your gifts and your passions and spreading them out, just filling the room with love. That alone, we are like tuning forks to each other. If you walk into a space and you bring love, no judgment, just love, the people, it will bounce and resonate off of people who may have come in with a little bit of fear, but that love will bring everybody back to center. And that helps regulate and initiate the immune system to do what it's supposed to do instead of managing a fear load. So my 2-minute would be try to let go of the fear that maybe you've picked up this last year.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, I want to thank everyone for taking the time here today. I think it was fascinating. We will be breaking it down into smaller videos, but we will going to keep the whole video together because the string runs together so nicely. People may actually invest the 50 minutes to watch the whole thing from end to end. So just want to thank everyone for being here today. Want to again remind people that the Center for Great Expectations is right here in Somerset, New Jersey, Somerset County, and it's a great resource. Work with Rutgers University and other things, all that they mentioned here today. Rochelle, her business is right out in Clinton, and the release, we have Tracy's in Clinton, and so is Kathy. Seems like to be 100 in County Day today for the most part. So excellent. And we do this once a month. We pick a topic that people tell us they want to know more about and people want to hear about, and we introduce one nonprofit to help. And then we turn around and let the experts kind of talk about what they do best. So feel free to join us any week at relaxteams.com. We have our huddles at 8 a.m. every morning. It's a Zoom. Everyone's welcome. Feel free to join. There's no cost. And we're just all in this together to try to help each other and to survive as a business and survive as people like we heard about today. So thanks, everyone. Feel free to reach out if you have any questions. You can reach me, Dennis at relaxtax.com. Enjoy.